Welcome, everybody, to the Journeymen Lounge podcast.
You better be praying to God because, you're 14 and losses in a row. You're going to need Jesus.
Am I wrong?
I thought you were pretty wrong, yeah. And welcome back to the Journeymen Lounge podcast. We appreciate all you loyal subscribers, listeners, viewers, however you like to peruse us. We appreciate it.
We do.
So today's movie was normally it would have been Bobby's turn, but he graciously let Ricky and me come up with something. Ricky had a list of movies, potential movies, and Rogue One was on there, and I was like, let's do Rogue One. We haven't done Star Wars yet.
Right.
It literally kicks off, in theory, well, besides the prequels, but like the main trilogy, like leads directly out of it. So we really, before doing A New Hope, it's good to do this one. Mm-hmm. And it's about 10 years old now. It's coming up at the end of this year. It'll be 10 years. So it's kind of interesting to revisit it, I would say. But first, or should I do the Star Wars experience first, or should I do the movie synopsis first?
Star Wars first.
Okay, so let's just talk about all of us individuals, Star Wars experience, fandom. Let's just say, how did you get into Star Wars? How much do you like Star Wars? Are you a big fan, a little fan, kind of in between? What do you do besides movies? Do you watch books or video games? Shows. Let's start with we'll start with Ricky, right? Why not? He's the guest. Let's start with Ricky.
Yeah, so I was first introduced to Star Wars when I was like 4 years old. My dad, he saw the original trilogy in theaters. When he was like 6 or 7 years old. And so he was like, yeah, I got to get my kids into this. And so
Good man.
Yeah. And so I watched I first saw him in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah. Ricky went in order of the prequels first, and then the original trilogy.
Okay.
Which we'll discuss further a little bit. But I found that very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's just how my dad showed.
Yeah, no, it's okay. But continue. I just wanted to point that out.
Technically, it's chronological. Yeah, I get it.
In the story wise, not release date wise.
Right.
Sure.
Not release date.
Yeah,
So
story.
as you were introduced to Star Wars, and then you kind of are able to now shape your path of what you're interested in and what you're going down. What do you now gravitate towards? Because there's now a lot of series out. I know there's always
Some animated.
There's always a good Star Wars game coming out pretty much every 2 years. So where do you gravitate towards now? I mean,
Good question.
there had been pretty much an extension of the original trilogy, just expanding upon that a movie every couple years. It has now died down.
Are you talking about the George Lucas special editions, or you mean?
I'm saying there was the first 6, right? So there was the original 3,
then the prequels,
and then there was the sequels,
yeah.
right? After those sequels, there'd been not spin-off movies,
It's
but
it's been more of TV. It is streaming,
TV streaming, but not the main movies. They did the Rey,
Not following Skywalker.
right?
Yeah,
Right. They branch off to different.
They did
characters.
after the
They did Han Solo.
sequel trilogy. There's 3 of those,
Yeah.
and the episodic, and then they had Rogue One in between there,
Right.
and Solo, a Star Wars story, and then I think after the mixed results with that and the last 2 in the sequel trilogy, especially Rise of Skywalker, I think kind of cooled off as far as
I'm just saying they aren't releasing. There was 3. There was a movie every 3 years.
The next thing that's coming out is in May. The Mandalorian and Grogu comes out.
Right, but they've kind of cooled down.
I'm saying that's part of it. I think is that the lukewarm reception to the last couple, especially Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi.
Sure.
But before that, I think there was hope. I'll get more into it. But Ricky, what I want to ask Ricky, what's your favorite Star Wars movie, or what's your top 3? Let's say.
Can we?
Or go.
Can you answer my question?
Oh, sorry.
first
Well, Jay, you're right.
of,
I'm
where
sorry,
you
dude. Yeah, you're right.
gravitating towards now?
I apologize.
Recently, I have the movies have been kind of mid, and so I guess TV and video games.
Okay.
Ryan, you're playing through Fallen Order.
Yeah, we've been talking about it at work.
Fallen
I'm
Order's
replaying Fallen Order because I got the PS5 for Christmas, so now I can play Jedi Survivor,
Okay.
which is a sequel to Fallen Order, which is a story about Cal Kestis, this Jedi Padawan.
Yeah,
who-
yeah, yeah.
I don't know if you guys know about it or whatever, but yeah. So we've been talking about it at work
Yeah.
frequently.
Okay, now your question.
I was like, Ricky, what's your favorite Star Wars movie? Maybe top 3 movies or favorite, whatever you want to
Let's
go.
go
in.
favorite movie. Let's make them,
Sure.
if you can,
Yeah.
singular it.
Yeah.
My favorite Star Wars movie would be Return of the Jedi.
Okay, why do you like
Good
Return of the Jedi the best, Ricky?
Just because Luke is my favorite character in all of Star Wars. You know, I'm a fan of the heroic characters. You know, got to go with the good path. You know, gotta stay away from evil. And like 6 is like that's his movie. You know, he makes a plan to rescue Han at Jabba's palace or whatever. You know, he was a good asset on Endor.
Mm-hmm.
And like just the final battle.
You like the whole Vader and him having the conflict and the Emperor in the throne room, right? That's probably the best part of the movie, I would say.
It's
at least for
all
me.
surrounded around Luke, and that's mostly why.
Nice. Now I want to pose this same question to everybody, but we'll get into our individual experience as well. But
Sure.
favorite Star Wars movie?
Yeah, I mean, I think Return of the Jedi is probably going to be mine as well.
Interesting.
I would probably give that a slight edge to Revenge of the Sith.
Interesting.
But I mean, it's very similar reasons. Like these, like build up to a fucking.
You like the final conclusion?
Oh my god! Like it's just like this was what you expected from Star Wars movies. Is that like you had like a lot of not narration, with the exposition. You had a lot of exposition building up to.
And New Hope and all that. Yeah,
Then when you had like these huge lightsaber battles at the end,
Yeah.
it just like to me those are like things that I go back to, and then also adding into this factor, John Williams, in which we'll talk about the soundtrack and all this stuff, having that score over a fucking lightsaber battle, I transplant myself back to the theaters. I think when like they re-released the original trilogy, like we went back and saw those as well. But I remember vividly going to like Revenge of the Sith and like fucking like,
Right.
oh my god, like yeah, like when they were.
I almost feel
going
like
at it.
these should be viewed in
Alright.
an IMAX
Go
theater.
ahead, Bobby.
Like sound, deafening.
Oh yeah, if you could.
Honestly, if you could pay $100 and they space out all 6 of the movies throughout the day, and you're like, hey, for this, 2 hours and then an hour break, and then back, I would do that for a full day watch. I honestly would. I think it'd be incredible. But you guys already landed on some of them. But one movie, it's not my favorite, but Woj, sorry, I mirror yours picks. But everyone shits on Attack of the Clones. I don't get it.
Oh.
I thought it was.
Attack of the Clones is good.
I really enjoyed that one. So but I've heard there's a lot of murmurs out there. Yeah, probably you. Like it sucks.
Yeah, probably you.
Well, no.
The guy who's going.
But I like I said, outside of the, like you said, the culmination, the build up, and those 2 movies, like yes, those are both my favorites. Like mirror you guys, but I really enjoyed that one too. If I had to put that in, that might be a bronze for me. So.
Can I say something?
You may.
Yeah, this is a
He's
podcast.
about to shit on me, but yes,
Go
go ahead.
Like I agree. I like episode 2. I think it's fine, but like I think a part of that is like when I grew up, I watched the prequels as well as the original.
Yeah, you saw it chronological. I was always 4, 5, 6, and then 1, 2, 3. Sorry, no,
Yeah,
4, 4,
Yeah,
5,
you're
6,
right,
then
you're
1, 2, 3.
right.
Yeah,
Like you guys were like what 10 or 12 when the originals came out, something like that.
The originals
I mean,
were born.
the prequels.
prequels.
The
Right,
first
yeah.
one I was 10.
Yeah,
For
so
me, it's
we had exposure to that, but I actually
Yeah.
saw my cousin Brian. He's older than me. He was like the older cool cousin. He sat me down when I was young, like you. He's like, "Hey, we're doing this proper," and that's how I got exposed to the originals, and then New Hope, and then
Same thing with me in the 90s. We would be watching the originals. Like my whole family is a huge Star Wars family. Like
I know Aaron
set those
was.
up first,
Yeah.
and then when it came out, I think that actually gave me like again why
Good
the
footprints.
prequels like hit so hard though, because like that was like my first like where I could see Star Wars like in the big theater, and like obviously Star Wars, it needs to be watched in the theater or at least the home entertainment system. But like I said, like if you were kind of like introduced correctly, like you were aware that, hey, there's an original trilogy out there. This sets up, but then you go to the prequels. Like you have to have somebody kind of guide you as a Sherpa.
I had that Sherpa. I loved it. It was my cousin Brian.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ryan.
So I'm going to cover a lot of things. You guys covered a lot. So I'm going to start my experience first. Like Ricky, my dad introduced me to it. He saw the original in the theater, and he always described it as like the greatest movie theater experience of his life. That it was like life-changing. That he'd never seen anything like it. Like the moment the ship, the destroyer, comes on screen with the little rebel ship, and just the scale of it, like, was so unbelievable. Like they couldn't believe that it was like real, basically. Like, because it was so. Sure. You know, and
they had practical effects back then.
Exactly, and it still holds up. You know, that the ones that he kept in, the practical effects, and like, so I got into it very young. My dad recorded all of them on VHS. And I watched them, the original trilogy, and then obviously loved them. Like, was obsessed with them. Had the action figures of the toys, and then when the when the prequels came out, was so psyched to see them. Saw them all in the theater. I remember seeing the trailer in elementary school when I was like 10. And I was like, I can see Star Wars in the theater like my dad did. I'm so excited.
Same.
And so I have nostalgia for those movies. Though I do like the prequels. I'm not going to shit on them completely, but rewatching them, I will say, there are parts that don't really work as well, story-wise or character-wise or special effect-wise. A lot is heavy CGI.
We will be going. Yeah. We'll review those eventually. Sure. So let's leave the critique of those.
But anyway, so if I had to pick my favorite, I want to say for the record, I love Revenge of the Sith. One of my favorites. Yes. Saw it twice in the same day.
It is rewatchable.
In the afternoon with Surge, I think, and then got dinner with my parents and my family at Village Tavern. And my dad's like, "Hey, want to go see Revenge of the Sith?" I'm like, well, I saw it today, but absolutely, let's go see it again. Loved it. I think for me, Empire's the best. It's the best. It's my favorite of the Star Wars, all the movies. It's obviously the second one, the original trilogy. It's the darkest. It has high stakes. Every character has something important to do. Everybody's journey is important, and it builds upon what A New Hope set up in the original movie, where it expands the lore of the world of Star Wars and Jedi and things that we had no idea about. Obviously, like, we lived with it, so it's always been on our zeitgeist or whatever you want to call it. But back then, people didn't know all this stuff about, like, oh, Jedi can use the Force to grab a lightsaber. Jedi can do the, not every ability.
Use all the droids.
Not everything was laid out in the first movie.
Sure. So I want to mention two things. One, real fans, they call it Empire. The title of it is Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I want it for anybody out there who's like, Empire. I don't remember
Empire
that.
Strikes Back.
It is, but a lot of people do shorten it.
I understand.
The other thing I will mention about, like, the lore and the massive universe that now Star Wars encompasses is that by the time you got to 1999 and the prequels started coming out, there was a lot of stuff that people, I think, were like, oh, Star Wars is like those three movies. It's just Luke and Leia and Han and Darth Vader, and that's it. Then Aaron is my brother, and he was our producer.
You are my brother.
You are my brother, Anakin.
He was our producer, though, on the podcast for a long time. But he really introduced me to, like, again, like, these things that we're talking about off the pod. Like, there's an expansive universe in which George Lucas and other writers, I don't know if he wrote all of them, but, like, he wrote, like, there's so many different books about different side characters.
Oh, yeah, tons.
Like, quests and things like that.
Yeah.
And then they all build into this universe where then now you're starting to see it, like, the Ahsoka, like,
Mandalorian,
the Mandalorian, like, these are
Andor.
all things that, like, the books build, like, even more background, even more exposition about these things. So, like, now you get it. And then also, one thing I will mention now that I very much love, and actually was an episode on the pod that we did before, The Outer Rim is a Star Wars game about smugglers, a tabletop game.
We played that. It was fun.
So those type of games as well, you get more exposition about, like, oh, there's this guy. I remember him in the one movie, and okay, now I see where his, like, he jumps in. So just want to mention that there's this expansive universe that is happening that we're just fucking in.
I want to add on to that too. I'm always been I love Star Wars video games. Like Ricky kind of touched on it. I loved the Revenge of the Sith game when it came out. It was like kind of an alternate story. I loved playing the Force Unleashed games. With Sam Witwer as Star Killer. If you guys are familiar with that, you had a couple on Xbox 360. Those are kind of like the predecessor to Fallen Order a little bit, like the way the gameplay is.
Sure. You got to mention Obi-Wan. I mean,
the show or
the movie. I'm sorry, the movie. Jesus Christ, the game. We were just talking about games.
The game. Which one?
Obi-Wan 360.
No, I don't think I played that one. I must have missed out. That sucks.
So fucking great.
I was say I also loved Battlefront 2 for PS4. Battlefront 2 especially.
Now we got to mention those.
Solid.
They're amazing, but the story.
The story mode was okay.
You're just kind of playing it. It doesn't follow like the story. It follows a generic.
It's the Imperial.
Imperial turned rebel. It's basically.
Yeah, she was an Imperial fighter or a plane or
like a special forces.
Right, and then she deflects to the Rebel Alliance.
Right.
In was it Versio?
Iden Versio.
Versio, yeah. So, but I always played Battlefront 2. I love playing heroes versus villains.
Sure.
It's just 4-on-4.
That's mainly kind of what I was saying is like those type of things are like a multiplayer game where like you're just in the map, which is dope to be like, hey, I'm in.
So sick.
I'm on fucking Endor or Hoth or whatever.
Playing those levels, like you said, is like I'm in Camino right now with the rain.
Now I want to play these games.
I'm in the Naboo hangar where Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fought. Like, so cool to like just like they set it up like and like especially the graphics are so good. Like you really feel like you know you're there.
Yeah.
And it's just so fun and addicting to play. Like I was obsessed with Battlefront 2 for like a year or whatever. Like,
Jeremy and we were playing it till like.
And as he said, I'm currently now replaying Jedi Fallen Order, which is a story about Cal Kestis, who is a Padawan. When Order 66 happened in Revenge of the Sith, he escaped and he was in hiding for like 5 years, and now he's resurged and trying to reform the Jedi Order or find more Jedi or whatever. And then there's a sequel game, which I haven't played yet, but really fun. Like I really highly recommend that game as well.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if you guys have any other ones you want to shout out.
No, I have a quick opinion, and I know we're going to dive into Rogue One here. I really feel that Disney, outside of those productions that were Lucas was backing or Jon Favreau was backing, I consider non-canonical because I thought a lot of them were just dog shit.
Like which ones?
7, 8, 9, all of them. But like I said, Rogue One I thought was, chef's kiss for Rogue One. The rest of it, toss it out.
I mean,
but like I said, Bad Batch. You had George Lucas, even the animated Clone Wars. I thought that was done great. You had Mandalorian. Like I said, Jon Favreau running the show, or George Lucas.
Dave Filoni too.
They're inspired. They did a great job. Everything else,
I agree.
no thanks.
So
Sorry, I'm not buying.
I'd just point out that didn't George Lucas kind of take a step back when
he sold it to Disney.
He sold it to Disney, but he was
$5
involved.
billion or whatever.
I'm sure he was involved, but not as much as he was in the first.
No, they didn't want him.
6, right?
He offered.
No, they didn't want it. They wanted to go a different woke route, and I'm sorry, I'm not buying.
Well,
okay,
I'm not buying.
What were you saying, Ryan?
I was going to say that he sold it to Disney in 2012 and made like $5-6 billion or whatever. And they asked her, he offered like, hey, this is what I was going to do. If you want, I can consult. And they were basically like, no, we don't like that. They wanted to go more of nostalgia, bring back Luke, Han, Leia in a sense, and then have a new journey. Now, I just want to say, before we get specifically, like, I think that The Force Awakens was awesome and is still awesome. That it was ruined by the next 2 sequels. That it didn't, because everything is set up. They did not set out to like they didn't continue the story.
I like the promise of what you're talking about, but then oh my god,
like, it brings it down in like retrospect or whatever. But when you saw that initially, I think people were generally happy. I think now some people could say it's a little bit of a retreading of A New Hope, and some elements of the story, granted, are. I don't disagree. It's not exactly copy and paste, but some parts are very similar, grant you. But we were watching it at work the other night, and even Ricky was like, he was kind of iffy on it. He was kind of like more, I mean, speaking for you, but you were like, oh, actually, this is like better than I remember, right?
Yeah, for 7.
Yeah, so like, no, I don't like Last Jedi really, and I don't like Rise of Skywalker. I think that Force Awakens was awesome.
Action sequences.
I liked Rogue One, which we'll get into, and I think Solo is under. I think people hate on it unnecessarily. I think it's actually pretty good, and I haven't seen all the shows, but I love The Mandalorian. The first 2 seasons, the 3rd season sucked. Ricky, I know you've seen Andor. You said it's really good.
It's very good.
I'm gonna have to get on that. I haven't seen it yet.
Really I thought the Obi-Wan series was decent. I haven't seen Clone Wars, but I've heard great things about it. And Rebels, I know Ricky's got more experience.
Bad Batch is another good
in those.
one.
Who's Obi-Wan?
It's like it was the one that takes. It was when he becomes.
No. Who's the actor?
It's Ewan McGregor. They brought back
Oh, is
Hayden
that?
Christensen. Him. Yeah, it's like
Excellent.
an 8-part or 6-part Disney Plus
I gotta
series.
check that out.
Oh shit, I'm
Obi-Wan's
checking
the
that
shit.
out. Okay, I
yeah,
didn't know that. They
there are
brought it back.
elements of that that are awesome. Some parts not so good, but overall I enjoyed it.
Let me know when they do a fucking Qui-Gon. Goddamn.
You said
Yeah.
Andor,
But the
you said
problem,
Andor,
Be all
though.
up in that.
Andor.
yeah,
Go ahead.
the problem that Bobby, you were kind of starting with Disney was they didn't have a plan for the sequel trilogy.
They
like
didn't.
George Lucas. So whether you like the prequels or not, he had a plan, and he's the creator, obviously, so he can do that.
Yeah.
They were like, okay, J.J. Abrams, you do your thing. Second movie, Ryan Johnson, you can do whatever you want, write whatever you want. You don't have to follow anything we set up. And third movie, they were going to have Colin Trevorrow when they brought back J.J. Abrams, and he's like, well, fuck that. I don't like what Ryan Johnson did, so I'm going to try and somehow bring it back to The Force Awakens, but they've gone too far. So now you have this weird mutant mix of a movie where things don't make sense, and it's not appeasing the Last Jedi people, and it's not appeasing the Force Awakens people. They both hate it. Everyone, so it's like a mash of
I
just
mean,
bullshit.
Bobby has an iota of accuracy in that there's a lot of things that they did to appease like a newer audience that is like, we need to be woke. We want to be
some things
adding in these elements that are like going to go with the newer generation. I mean, again, I'm not, I think, specifically talking to you, Ricky, but your generation
you have a better
and
feel
people
on this.
who
Honestly, as this generation, I kind of disagree with all the things they went through.
Oh, thank you.
So
I don't think
I feel
like
vindicated.
I'm not saying that again, like your, like it's like, oh,
No, yeah, we're
this
not
is what
assigning it to you,
Ricky.
but
I know,
was-
I get it.
It's
grew
just
up with
like
that same-
generally these are things that I look at and go, I can see why they did it, being that it was 28, 17. I'm like, okay, I get it.
To me, those aren't the things that make the sequel trilogy not as palatable.
storylines
It's the
sucks,
story.
yeah.
It's not. It doesn't hold up. Where it's like we're going from point A to point B, and along the way we're going to hit these points, and it's going to make sense. Whereas, like like for example, for Marvel, they have like a whole thing, right? All these movies, and they have a basic thing where it's like, okay, the greater story builds up to this, but in your individual movie, you can touch different things here, but this part has to remain intact. This part has to be, on par with the rest of them. Whereas the Star Wars ones, they didn't really do that. They fucked up. They didn't have like a Kevin Feige who's running the show.
They did.
Okay,
But she
Kevin
was
Kennedy.
terrible.
Okay, well, they should have a better one than
Yeah.
Dave Filoni, who is the Star Wars expert who came up with he write the Clone Wars and all the Rebels and all he's behind the Mandalorian with Favreau. He's like the real brains, and he's the one who should be running the ship, I think.
I would also mention though that with
Glad we're talking about
the
this.
sequels, I have a problem with any. Again, this is a great first 6 movies that you're so in on the lore of Star Wars that when you got to the sequels, there were just a couple things where like I was just on the fence of like one thing then would go this way and be like, oh, like now I'm kind of out on it or whatever. Like for example, like I don't remember exactly which movie it happened in, but like Leia in space,
We all gonna bring it. I was gonna bring that up.
and
too.
I was just like,
we all have the same thoughts.
What?
Yeah.
but why?
That's
In what way?
You're 100%.
It just was that thing where I was like, well, now I'm out. Like, what the fuck is this?
Again, Force
Because
Awakens.
the actress, obviously, she passed, right? And they kind
But
of.
they
not
didn't.
what-
But they didn't kill her off. They
I know,
could've.
It was a perfect chance.
Yeah, and they brought her floating back into the ship. It makes no sense.
So silly, yeah.
At that moment, though, what you're 100% right. I was in the theater. I remember, and she's in space. I'm like, oh, they're gonna. She
This is how
died.
she
They're gonna
goes.
kill her off, right?
Yes.
It makes sense. And then she does this weird power
Superman.
thing that we've never seen anybody have. And she's in the cold dead of space. You would die, and your body would explode, right, or blow up, or you would freeze to
You'd
death.
freeze,
and all
yeah.
of the above.
You are dead.
She floats
You are
back
dead.
in, and then it's like, what? No Jedi's ever done that. You can't just do that.
Also, when you're not mentioning that like you hint at it that Luke and Leia are related, so there might be like some like she might have there. I could have seen an arc where they go and like give Leia powers and stuff like that.
The whole using of the original trilogy characters was mishandled. I think actually Han Solo in The Force Awakens is used pretty well.
Great. Yeah, it was great.
And he got a nice spoiler alert death. You know.
No, that was
sense.
actually one that I go.
Leia,
I hate that it happened, but I'm like, and
needed
granted,
to happen,
this is also my. Sorry, I got to just make this interjection here. Is that I also have a big problem with like Harrison Ford is the fucking man.
He's the best.
Dude?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been in that Indiana Jones. He is an action star through and through.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he, like everybody, is old. And when he was in like the last Indiana Jones, I go, that's an 85-year-old guy trying to do action.
Yeah.
This is what I would prefer is that you go, you had your time as like the action guy doing all the stunts. This is how you go out.
yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. It was a fitting end.
He does a good job of like not being unrealistic in his character. Like his character is old in the lore of the movies, and his character is in his real life person. He's old, so it worked. And like he's not doing things like you said Indiana Jones where he's like jumping off a car, flipping,
running through the alleys. And
he has
like,
a blaster and he walks around, and that's not unrealistic. It works.
But again, his death is like it fits. It also helps to explain Kylo Ren a little bit.
You know, Last Jedi, they get the whole Luke thing. They fuck up his character, in my opinion. And I think, and Mark Hamill,
ruin his
frankly,
character.
Mark Hamill's opinion also, he didn't like the direction.
No.
And he openly stated it. Like, this is not who Luke Skywalker is to me.
Right. He's a man of
You know,
hope,
I will
inspiration.
do-
He wouldn't bail on people, go to some moon and be like, yeah, go fuck yourself.
I will do what Ryan Johnson wants because it's his movie, but I don't agree with it. You know, and like that whole thing of they set that up at the end of Force Awakens, and then they open that up with Last Jedi, and it completely flips everything, and then the Leia thing happens, and then we're off on this weird.
I was.
You know,
gone.
it's yeah.
Yeah,
What
like
were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that whole thing with like Luke you were talking about, like that reverts everything I like about Return of the Jedi. You know,
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm so scared. Not scared, but like I failed. I'm gonna give up. Like that's not the heroic
That wasn't
guy.
in. No, that wasn't in his
Exactly.
like, playbook. He
That's-
said, "I'm doing this, or I'm gonna die trying."
That's not the heroic guy who killed Darth Vader.
Right.
You know.
It's not the one who became the hope for the new,
Yeah.
you know, the Jedi or whatever. And also, there's examples of them doing it well, like in The Mandalorian. Against spoilers, they do Luke well, I think, for the and I think if he's in Boba Fett, maybe for a quick scene. But they do the de-aging or the wherever they put the face on the other guy. But it works. Like it's believable, the character, like the way they set him up and the way he's doing things. Granted, obviously, Last Jedi's years later, but still, it's not my cup of tea. That one.
I think there could have been an arc where he does that, losing himself, but then obviously making. This is kind of what I've mentioned in the last, these questions about like what are your favorite movies. It's the movies that have a resolution, that have something that happens, and then I get that these movies, like I understand Hollywood, right? Like that's the first thing. If you're going into movies nowadays and you're going like, why didn't they wrap it up? And we're actually talking about Rogue One. I'll talk about that as well. But I'm like, you have to understand, like, they're in the movie-making business. They want to capitalize on more movies, setting up more things. So there's going to be this thing. There's going to be a cliffhanger. There's going to be something set up so that they can make more money and do this. You have to be all right with that. And I think Star Wars always did a great job of, like, we have taken this movie or these trilogies and we've put it to a close, but we have also set up what we can do in the future. First two trilogies I think are a great example of like set it up. Now again, I am just such a fan though of the fact that the second set of movies was a prequel, and then that still sets up like it goes back into the original.
Right.
So like you kind of see it in a big loop.
The bridge is nice.
And then now you're going off onto this
Palatable.
next sequel, and that's where again it's like I feel like those kind of failed. Is to like close the book on this, but then I get that you're leaving some open ends up to start something else.
To tie it into Rogue One, when Disney acquired and they were putting stuff out, when Force Awakens came out and this movie came out, I think hopes were still high. I think it was like this is like they're doing good things, and I like the direction they're going. As soon as The Last Jedi came out, that's when it started to turn, and things were not as good. Then Solo came out and that didn't do as well. People were hating on that, and then it's just spun from there. And then people were like, the movie's not working. When the Mandalorian came out, I was like, okay, I think they found their groove again. They're kind of back to basics. So they need to do that in a movie sense, where they need to get back to it. Like, whatever story you're gonna do, have it a structure, have an idea. A, B, C. This is what we're doing, not just floating all like around. And
yeah, I mean the Solo individual movie I thought was like a huge letdown, just because you had like, yes, this is what's going to happen in Hollywood, is that you're going to take a guy, you're going to recast him as a younger version, and that's what we want. We want what happened. How did Han Solo become Han Solo? How did Luke Skywalker become? I mean, we kind of got that in the original trilogy, but you didn't back it. Like, I don't know if you guys remember, but like Solo came out, it didn't do well, and they said, "Fuck that! Like, you're gone, dude. You're not gonna do anything else." Like, they could have brought that guy back in other Solo movies, but then they were like, "No, Harrison Ford, we got to get you back."
Everybody just shouldn't, because it wasn't Harrison Ford. And honestly, if you're going into it thinking that already, you're already not going to like.
You're already not going to like it.
You have to go into it being like, I can't compare him to Harrison Ford. And to like completely a little bit, like to more of the character of Han Solo though. Like, Harrison Ford is one of the greatest actors of all time. It's hard for Alden Ehrenreich, I believe is his name, to be Harrison Ford. It's just not a fair.
It's not going to happen. But this is also the thing that I thought was weird about that, was that Donald Glover,
as Lando.
Lando.
I thought he was pretty good.
I thought it works in well.
job.
I thought it was fun. I think they could have had that chemistry. I think it could have been something, but also again, if you kind of got to choose the right guy. And I think that Alden Ehrenreich, I think there's like a couple of guys that you see now that could have been like, I could see him as a fast talking kind of.
I thought he was fine. I don't know if he like blew me out of the water, but I thought like I could see this guy as a young Han Solo. It didn't upset me at all. I thought overall the movie was like a good pacing, like a fun like story of like, you know, like he's a smuggler and like it was like small stakes, but I kind of enjoyed that. Like, it wasn't one of the episodic ones. And I would like much rather, again, to shit on Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, I would much rather watch Solo than either of those two. Either of them.
I have a shot out of the cannon for this one. For the prequels, you had Jar Jar Binks, which we could considerably say is the reason why there's a lot of, distaste for some of the sequels. Okay, I'm saying keep everything the same. Change Jar Jar Binks from having a Rastaf or whatever that dialect he has, that like, Misa, and change it to a more normal voice. Does it play better?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm 100% in the camp of don't change anything. I love Jar Jar Binks.
Okay,
I love Jar Jar Binks.
I hate anybody that shits on Jar Jar Binks.
There's a huge
he's a terrible character. It's like, he did what the character was meant to do.
Did you know George Lucas was focused on him becoming a Sith Lord, right? You guys caught that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, he is made to be a buffoon.
He's comic relief.
Yeah.
You need comic relief.
And I'm like, that's
with
exactly what he is. But I saw so many people hating on that. Just like, Jar Jar Binks is the worst character in the Star Wars universe. I'm like, is he? Like,
it caused the fall of the Republic.
He was just a pawn. It could have been anybody.
But I know, but George Lucas made it him. I'm just saying he did cast the Senate vote to get Palpatine in power, and he kind of got the ball rolling on that. Again, not. But I don't know. Yeah, Jar Jar's.
I don't have a problem with his accent. I don't have a problem with the character.
I think it'd be a better movie. I don't think that Jar Jar though is the main problem of the. If we're talking about problems with the prequel movies, it's the dialogue, it's the stale cinematography, it's the overuse of CGI, and
stale cinematography. Really,
George Lucas is not the best filmmaker. He's got good ideas, and like he created the Star Wars world. But as far as like, if you watch the first three movies, the first three prequel movies, it's a lot of very generic shots, like A shot here, B shot here, not anything like super, like signature or sticks out. I don't know. Try watching them again with like a new eye, if you will.
I'll give it an attempt.
I have nostalgia for the prequels. So I do like the prequels, but there are just like a lot of like eye rolling, like especially the dialogue. Like for example, Bob, you like Attack of the Clones. Like his whole thing talking to Padme on Naboo about the sand is just god awful. I
Okay.
hate sand. It's rough and it's coarse. And
Right,
it gets everywhere. And
I understand where you're saying some of the dialogue is just like either forced or it doesn't quite add to the scene. I could understand that, but like to say like, oh, there's weak cinematography or something. They might over rely on CGI, but I don't know. I kind of enjoyed it.
It's too much. You need a real set every now and then. There's
There's too much. Oh, you're saying a little bit more practical effects.
Yes,
mixed
in the entire
okay.
prequel
Okay,
trilogy,
okay.
there's maybe like 2 scenes of like a real set or a stage, or like, and the ones in the Revenge of the Sith at the end where they're on the ship.
Yeah.
And the rest of it, they're being like these giant CGI rooms, and you can, it's they're doing the best what they got. It's 1999, right? 2002 and 2005, so it looks of its time. But now looking at it, it doesn't always hold up.
I wonder if they remastered it. If they
some
like,
look
cleaned
better.
it up
Some shots look better than
It'd be good if
others.
they did.
And but it's
Right.
I would have liked a little more like Star Wars. The original trilogy was a pioneer in practical effects, and then George Lucas goes back. Me and Ricky talking about the special editions and just ruined, or not ruined, but like ruined some shots at least. Let's say not the movie itself, but by putting in these new digital things that don't match up with the '70s look, just because he wants to have it all look like the prequels. And I think just like, to me, keep the original trilogy as it is. Now you realize, I don't know if you guys know, you cannot watch the original trilogy as it was originally shown. There's not available anywhere unless you buy an illegal copy, like a Blu-ray or DVD. Like you can't stream it.
No, but I'm saying the VHS.
Well, okay, if you have the old VHS, yes. But before that, after that, they're all the special editions, which is changing some scenes, adding people or things in scenes.
Right. You're right.
And they stick out a lot in certain parts. Now, Empire has the least of that, which is probably why I like it the best, probably also. But if you guys, again, I don't know when's the last time you watched Star Wars or not, or how much you know about this type of stuff. I kind of used to watch a lot of videos on this. I have a little background, but like, yeah,
We'll give you the nod.
I just wish that they would offer, now that Disney acquired this, 14 years ago, give us the option of like a Blu-ray where they have the original uncut editions, and we can also watch
Any
the special
extended
feature.
scenes too, or something like that.
We should be able to watch the special edition or the original. There's no other movie thing on Earth, I don't think, in the history that doesn't let you do that. Like, what's it, the Smithsonian or whatever that wants to preserve film? They want,
Oh, yeah.
Star Wars. They're like, hey George, we want the original cut. He's like, no, you get the special. He's like, well, they're not taking it because it's not the original print.
Yeah.
We want what was out, and like, I don't know why he's so ashamed of it, because like
I don't think it's a shame. I think he just wants to own his.
well, he's
own
like,
IP.
I think he's like an innovator, kind of like James Cameron, and he likes to put new technologies and things. And he's just like, but he's doing too much. He does too much tweaks with the movie. He did, I should say. He's not doing anymore. He did too many tweaks with it, and it's just like, it was amazing the way it was, and he should give the fans who saw it that way the option to do so.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of went all off on a little tangent.
No, I know.
there,
We haven't even gotten into Rogue One yet. We should probably eventually start to
well,
tap that.
it's a Star Wars
No, I
discussion.
understand 100%.
Yeah, so
we'll get there.
What we're gonna do is we'll take a quick cut. We
Yeah.
just had a little nice bonus episode
I mean,
called
it was flowing.
Star Wars
flowing. I
Discourse.
like it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that as like a part 2.
Sure.
Let the
We'll-
talk flow through you.
We'll come back with the actual
Find it
movie
loud,
review,
fade,
Rogue
disturb.
One. So take a quick break. Check out part 3.